Welcome to the big show, the 2014 MHSAA Division III Track and Field State Finals. The final meet of the 2014 outdoor track and field season in the second crown of the 2014 Double Crown tournaments. We've got huge crowds already here today at Comstock Park High School's Panther Stadium. It's Saturday morning, May 31st, and today's forecast is for temperatures into the high 80s to low 90s with no precipitation. Mostly clear skies and low humidity with no wind will make for a very hot and challenging day of state finals competition. After getting the team settled in, the 4x800 meter relay is the first event of the meet. The Frankenmuth girls have no entry in that event, which means no opportunity for points. At that same time, the field events are starting, away from the main track. Following the 4x800 meter relay are prelims for the sprint races, including the 100 meter sprint, the 100 meter hurdles, and the 200 meter sprint. After those prelims, there'll be a break, the national anthem, and then the finals will begin. Starting the day for Frankenmuth are sprinters Angie Ritter and Sarah Beulah in the 100 meter sprint prelims. Angie is seated first and Sarah is seated sixth coming in, clearly demonstrating the wisdom of moving Angie into the 100 meters at the start of her senior season. The goal is to get both Angie and Sarah into the 100 meter finals. 2 entries in the 100 meter finals would be fantastic. Angie finishes the 100 meter prelims first and Sarah sixth. A great start for the team. Immediately following the 100 meter sprint prelims are the 100 meter hurdle prelims featuring junior Sydney Bronner. Inspired by Angie's and Sarah's performances, she has no problems clearing the hurdles, taking the number 2 seed into the hurdle finals. Overcoming issues that plagued her in her previous 2 appearances at state finals, Sydney will focus on speed for her finals run. But wait, there's more. In the 200 meter run prelims, Angie and Sarah have shocked the crowd with an awesome 1-2 finish for Frankenmuth, with Sarah running a personal record time of 25.88 seconds, only 0.82 of a second behind Angie. Made even more impressive because Sarah was seated 7th coming into the prelims. As the jaw-dropping results of the 200 meter prelims are posted, the question on everyone's mind, can they do it again in the finals later in the day? At the same time the track prelims are taking place, the field events have begun at locations away from the track with multiple field events happening simultaneously. And the Frankenmuth Lady Eagles have qualifiers in each of those events as well. In the shot put, Frankenmuth has sophomore Carrie Fromm and junior Sarah Jansen seated 8th and 18th respectively. In the discus, Carrie Fromm is seated 7th. Junior Stephanie Lambeth comes in as the number 2 seed in the pole vault, and junior Sydney Bronner comes in as the number 1 seed in the high jump. Finally, in the long jump, Stephanie Lambeth is seated 19th and senior Katie Pomreuter is seated 23rd. This morning's prelims are finished and the field events will continue after the break. Let's take a moment to recap the prelim results. The goal of placing both Angie and Sarah into the 100 meter finals is achieved as Angie takes a number 1 seed and Sarah a number 6 seed into the finals. Sydney Bronner finished 2nd in the 100 meter hurdle prelims, taking a number 2 seed into the finals. Finally, in the 200 meter prelims, Angie and Sarah sweep 1st and 2nd place in the 200 prelims, taking number 1 and number 2 seeds into the finals. Frankenmuth arrived here today with attitude, something to prove. Our first event this afternoon is the 100 meter hurdle finals featuring Frankenmuth's number 2 seed Sydney Bronner. We spoke with Sydney about her family's background in athletics and the events she's competing in today.
My dad went to Frankenmuth High School, and he was a very good athlete back then. In track, he still holds the Frankenmuth High School record in the 100 meter hurdles. He shares it, but he still holds it for about 35 years now. My mom is from Southern Illinois. She was also an athlete. She did cheerleading. She liked to brag about her backflips. I played volleyball, basketball, and track, and ran track in grade school. As a freshman, I did the 100 hurdles, 300 hurdles, the 4x2 relay, and high jump. The 4x2 relay, I had to fight to get on the spot as a freshman because there were 2 other very strong runners that wanted it too. And then my sophomore year, I decided to focus more on just track and volleyball. The whole hurdling, learning how to do hurdles was a big thing. Like my freshman year, it was a whole new game changer for me. I was a part of the 4x200 relay, being able to run with a couple of the best sprinters that have came through Frankenmuth High School, Emily Lee, Olivia Shelton, and Angie. I was like overwhelmed.
Track finals begin with the 100-meter hurdle finals. Feeling confident after her successful prelims run, Sydney really turns up the heat for the finals. Sydney wins the 100-meter hurdles and Frankenmuth gets their first state champion of the day. Let's see that finish again. By 500ths of a second, she wins the race. Next up is the 100-meter sprint featuring Frankenmuth's Angie, Ritter, and Sarah Beulah. But first, Angie talks about her start in track, her big sister Kelsey, her father's near-fatal aneurysm, and what she thinks about when she's on the starting blocks.
I feel like my first memory would have to be way back in like 5th grade when I started running in grade school. Way back then I was running times of like what people in high school run. She just started running the same time I did. We like did the same things. She did soccer, I did soccer. She did track, I did track. We like did all the same sports and stuff. I feel like she was just more of a role model. I just wanted to like be like her. He was such a fighter throughout that whole thing. I definitely like, he did motivate me to like to run for him. Like when I'm in the blocks, I always like say a prayer, and then I just think about like the end of the race, and just always, I hear my parents up in the stands and my grandparents, and I'm just thinking about, I want to make everyone proud.
Angie Ritter blasts off like a rocket, leaving everyone in her dust, winning the 100-meter sprint finals with Sarah placing 5th and earning the 2nd state champion title of the day for Frankenmuth. Let's see that stunning finish again. Seeing a runner totally dominate a sprint race like this is unheard of, and something this crowd will never forget. And for any team to have 2 members reach all-state status in the 100-meter state finals is historic. Next up on today's schedule is the much-anticipated 4x200-meter relay. Frankenmuth's #1 seeded relay team is led off by Sydney Bronner, followed by Katie Palmreuter, then Sarah Beulah, and anchored by Angie Ritter. This squad is undefeated this season, setting many meet records along the way, including a new state record during last weekend's MITCA Team State Tournament. Add to that Angie and Sarah's 1-2 finish in the 200-meter prelims today, and expectations are high that the current MHSAA State relay record is about to fall. Senior Katie Palmreuter talks about her decision to run track and her role on the team.
Well, I think it all started in like 5th grade. I did track at St. Lawrence, and that's kind of when I found out that I have like talent, I guess, to be fast, and like I really enjoyed doing it. But I also enjoyed doing soccer at the same time. So it was like hard. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I came to high school. So my first 2 years, I kind of went with soccer because I knew my dad liked watching me do soccer. But then when I became a junior, I decided that I wasn't that great at soccer anymore, and all my friends were on the track team. So I thought I would just try it out and get back into it again. And I really wanted to be part of a team that could get me somewhere and like have to like be able to remember it for like the rest of my life.
The gun goes off and the 4x200-meter relay has begun. No false starts, no disqualifications. And Frankenmuth's leadoff runner Sydney Bronner is off to a great start. There are just so many things that can go wrong during a relay. All the usual challenges faced by runners, plus 3 critical baton exchanges that must go perfectly. Things such as dropped batons or late exchanges, or even a false start disqualification, which happened at Frankenmuth's home meet this season and resulted in the team's only defeat of the year. All those things must take place perfectly in order to win this event. But this squad will not be satisfied just winning. These ladies, this team, this year, are looking for the Division III MHSAA all-time state record in this relay. So not only must things go perfectly, they must be executed better than anyone has executed them before. As the race continues, things are looking perfect for the record-setting squad. Only a week ago, these ladies set the all-time record at MITCA Team State, and today the stage is set for another record-breaking run. As Sarah rounds the track, Frankenmuth has built up a sizable lead on second-seeded Pewamo, Westphalia. And as Angie receives the final exchange, she turns up the heat and expands her lead coming down the straightaway to the finish line. Frankenmuth wins the relay, but is it enough for a new MHSAA record? We'll have to wait for the official announcement. One thing is for sure, this team has attitude, and they have something to prove.
In fourth place, from Toronto, Westphalia, 50.83. In third place, Kylie Mount from Mason County Central, 15.66. In second place, Kylie Hicks from Boyne City, 15.13. And your girls 100-meter hurdle champion in Division 3.
Sydney Browner
from Frankenmuth, 15.08.
What's that? How are we doing so far, ladies?
It's hot. Really hot.
Up next is the 4x100 meter relay with Frankenmuth seeded number 2 coming in. As the squad prepares for their run, Rebecca Barger talks about her track and field career.
In middle school, I tried track when I was in 7th grade, and I loved it. I did like going fast, and so 7th and 8th grade, I was in track, and then high school, I did long jump. I did that in high school as well, and I did the 100, and then I did the 4x1 relay. I loved my freshman year in high school track. I was just wowed by the talent already on the team, the Emily Wees and the Olivia Sheltons, who were just so fast, and I never imagined myself being up to that level. My sophomore year, I got put in the relays, and that was incredible to run with those girls. My junior, senior year, I started being able to make it to the later heats and regionals and going to states.
The gun goes off and Rebecca Barger is off to a fast start. This is a very fast event, 100 meters at a time with absolutely zero margin for error. This will be a fight to the finish for the number 2 seeded Frankenmuth squad against the number 1 seeded Pewamo Westphalia squad. As you would expect, it's neck and neck going through the exchanges with the slightest hesitation the difference between first and second place. It's tough to tell who is in the lead because of the stagger between the lanes, but it looks like Frankenmuth might have a slight edge coming into the final exchange. Coming down the stretch, it's a battle for the lead between Kinsey Weber of Pewamo Westphalia and Sarah Beulah for Frankenmuth. As the girls approach the finish line, Kinsey turns up the heat with a sudden burst and crosses the line 0.2 of a second before Sarah and Pewamo Westphalia holds on for their first head-to-head win against Frankenmuth today. we turn our attention to the awards podium where the pole vault awards and 4x200 meter relay awards are about to take place. First, let's hear from Stephanie Lambeth about her journey from gymnastics to pole vault and track.
It was second grade. I just kept talking to my grandma and I was like, I want to do gymnastics. And they put me in it at Gym Jesters in Saginaw. And I started there and I really liked it. I just enjoyed being there. I just loved it. I got to level 9 and there's 10 levels and level 10's usually college level. I didn't continue to level 10 because pole vault was my choice for college. I did track all through middle school. I didn't do pole vault. I did high jump, sometimes sprints. And then Coach Drake came up to me a couple times saying, I got a camp you should try out. You should just try pole vault. And I decided, I'm just gonna try track. I'm gonna try to do it. My sophomore year, I really, really, really wanted to get the school record. And one meet, I think it was MITCA, I tied the school record with 10 feet. And then junior year came and I was just doing way better. I broke the school record, meet after meet. I cleared 11.6, which was a really good height, I thought. And I started running and I was actually pretty fast.
In third place, Stephanie Lambeth from Frankenmuth, time 6. In second place, Casey Staley from Farwell, 11:03. And your girls pole vault champion in Division 3, Angie Ritter from Kawama, Australia, 11:06. Congratulations to this year's medalist.
Next are the 4x200 meter relay awards, but first Sarah Beulah talks about her journey from gymnastics to running in college.
I was a gymnast and it got time consuming, so I knew I wanted to start middle school sports. So I started doing volleyball and then I did middle school track. I think it was junior year, I realized that I really liked track and how it was going. So I think that's when I decided that I wanted to try to run in college. So then that kind of pushed me junior and senior year to push myself really hard. Senior year, I had a lot of hamstring problems. I had, actually at States, I went to the trainer and she told me that I wasn't even supposed to be running that day, but I knew I would regret it if I didn't run.
And your girls 4x200 meter relay champion in Division 3 with Sarah Beulah, Sydney Bronner, Angie Ritter, and Steve Hollywood. In Frankenmuth with a time of 1:41.17.
Next up is Sydney Bronner's final event of the day, the 300 meter hurdles. Sydney is seated third coming in, but first an update from Coach Snyder.
I put myself in Scott Werner's shoes, the Frankenmuth Valley coach. His jaw just had to be on the ground. He said he was bringing a phenomenal team into this meet. He did the points too. He does the points all the time. He knows where he had to be. At that point, I think they knew that they probably had to win everything else from that point forward to even have a chance.
After a long and successful day, Sydney Bronner finishes the 300-meter hurdles in third place for Team Frankenmuth. Only 4 more events to go, with the next event the 800-meter run featuring 7th-seeded Larry Hammond. We join Carly as she talks about her track career running the 800 and 4x400 relay and the determination the team brings to this year's state finals.
With, older siblings, you always want to be like them. You always want to perpetuate what they're like because they're pretty much your idol. It wasn't so much like the sport that I wanted to follow in her footsteps in. It was that pride in what you can do, knowing that, you did that by yourself and you made yourself do that. You pushed yourself when it counted, when it mattered. So I think I started developing a really good relationship with 800s and also the people who ran the 800s, not just on my team, but on everybody else's team. I was put as the backup of a backup of a backup in the 4x400 meter relay. And I remember being so honored to be there. And it was this big thing to be in the 4x400 meter relay. I think just starting off that season, the very first practice, before we ever went out onto the field, I think there were quite a few girls who had the determination and who had the experience, who put their foot on the ground and said, this is the year that we're gonna win.
The 800-meter run is not the most popular running event. It's too much distance, 2 laps around the 400-meter track for most sprinters, and requires the long-distance stamina of a distance runner to finish strong. Carly's 4 years of cross-country, in which she made state finals each year, gives her the distance skills. But being a good sprinter requires a different set of skills and more muscle mass than distance running. So following her recovery from her preseason injury, she began competing in some 200-meter and 400-meter sprints to build up her speed and lower her times in the 800 and the 4x400-meter relay. It seems to have worked, given her dominance in the 800 meters since regionals. She set the all-time league record in the 800 this year and followed up with a runner-up finish at last week's MITCA Team State Tournament. At this point, she's just a second off the school record, and Coach Snyder is hoping she'll own that record following her performance in today's finals. Carly has earned the reputation of being a fierce competitor and having a strong kick at the end of the race. That reputation will be put to the test as she rounds the final turn and heads down the straightaway to the finish line. In 6th place, coming to the finish, Carly lunges towards the finish line and passes 2 runners just as she crosses the line. Let's see that again. Carly finishes in 4th place, 3 spots better than her seed. The next event is the 200-meter sprint finals. In the prelims, Frankenmuth shocked the crowd by claiming the top 2 seeds going into the finals. Angie Ritter placed 1st and Sarah Beulah, running a personal record time, placed 2nd. Later on, as the journalists and photographers awaited the announcement of the start of the 200-meter finals, all were surprised and shocked to suddenly see the runners coming down the straightaway heading towards the finish line. No one was in place or ready for photos or video. Therefore, none exist of the race or the finish. No explanation was offered. We offer up the footage of the combined prelims as a substitute for the actual race, since the Frankenmuth 1-2 finish was the same, and pick up our coverage immediately following the finals race.
Okay, Angie came in first, Sarah came in second.
Angie and Sarah have just finished coming in first and second. This is crazy. This just doesn't happen. To have two sprinters of this magnitude on one team, much less a small school Division III team. This is so special. Congratulations to Angie and Sarah. Congratulations to Frankenmuth. History has been made, and there is talk that Angie has set a new MHSAA State record in the 200 meters. We'll have to wait for the official announcement to be sure. Once again, this team has shown they came in having something to prove, and they are indeed proving it. Meanwhile, Sydney Bronner has accepted 2 additional awards. First, Sydney claims her All-State Award for her third-place finish in the 300-meter hurdles, followed by her state champion award in the high jump. Sydney came in seated first in the high jump, but kept going and going until her jump of 5 feet 6 inches tied her for the D3 state record. Congratulations to Sydney, well done. Up next is the 3,200-meter run. The infield here has reached temperatures of 100 degrees plus today, and this will be a grueling race. 8 laps around the 400-meter track. Representing Frankenmuth is Emily Sievert, who made it her goal to make it into the MHSAA State Finals earlier at regionals. She has had a tough time last year and this year with her health, all the while being determined to reach her goals as an athlete. She took over the top of the record board in cross country her senior year, running over 100 miles a week. She has truly been an inspiration to this team. Here's Emily to talk about the challenges she has faced.
Mom and Dad both ran in high school and in college. Been a big part of growing up, just having that around us. I have 2 older siblings and a younger sibling. They've all run at some point. My brother also ran on the Frankenmuth track and cross country team, and he went on to run in college too, and he was just a phenomenal runner. It turned out in my soccer career, the short-lived one that it was, I got a concussion in the season, and that had been my 3rd concussion I had had, because earlier I'd gotten some in grade school. So then I got some headgear and went back out to play more soccer and got another concussion anyways, and that was number 4. That would probably be the end of my contact sport career. And so then my sophomore year was when I joined cross country for the first time. In the middle of running, and I remember thinking I was on track for a PR, and I was really excited, and we were halfway through the race, and I was going up a hill, and I'm not sure if I blacked out first and then tripped, or if I tripped and then blacked out, but I fell and hit my head, and suddenly cross country was also a contact sport. So then I did a little bit of winter track, and then moving into the spring, I did outdoor track. And that was when I first got mono. I wanted to run, and I was in the 2-mile and the long distance events, and I wanted to be on a relay, and I just got really sick. The fall of my sophomore year, I found out my dad had Parkinson's. He was diagnosed, and he was probably 48 at the time, roughly, and so it was really early for that to start appearing, and we had been wondering what was going on with him for several years prior to this. One of the reasons I wanted to run then was because it was when he couldn't run, and that was kind of a boost for me when I would feel down or feel like didn't want to run that day. It was just, there are people who can't run that really wish they could be running.
Emily Sievert wraps up her high school running career with a 15th place finish in the 3,200-meter run at MHSAA State Finals. 8 places better than her 23rd seed coming in. And her family, coaches, and teammates couldn't be more proud. Way to go, Emily. While the 3,200-meter run was taking place, awards were presented for the discus event. Here is Frankenmuth thrower Carrie Fromm discussing her family's shot put and discus tradition.
For me, it it was kind of just a no-brainer, just, you know, go out for the track team, go out to be a thrower or something like that, because I'd been watching my siblings, obviously, since I was much younger. And it started with my oldest sister, Renee, being a thrower, and then my next oldest, Ashley, and then Michael. And then once I transitioned in, it just, you know, follow where my family goes. My mom was our throws coach at Emmanuel. And so she basically taught me how to throw shot put. We didn't throw discus at that time. And then obviously I, you know, learned visually from my siblings, just watching them throw. It just kind of caught on in my brain how to do it. My body kind of caught on to it. I was the youngest one on the 2014 team that made it to states because I was a sophomore at that time. I was proud to be a part of the 2014 team that made it to states. Obviously because sophomores don't make it very often, especially in discus, because it's not a very easy thing to do.
Sophomore Carrie Frahum finishes in 8th place in the discus, dropping 1 place from her 7th seed coming in. She receives her first All-State certificate and scores a point for the team, securing her place in a long family tradition. Congratulations, Carrie. The gun goes off and senior Larry Hammond runs the first leg of the 4x400 meter relay for the Frankenmuth team. The Frankenmuth squad is seeded number 1 coming in. There are rumors that at least one other team, Pewamo Westphalia, maybe others, may have shuffled their running order to run their fastest runner first. Usually the last runner, the anchor, is the fastest of the squad. The idea of moving the anchor into the first spot is to open a big lead that they hope will give them a chance to hold out for a victory in this the final event of today's state finals. It's generally agreed that it's easier to hold an existing lead rather than expecting the anchor runner to make up the distance on the final lap. Carly finishes her opening lap and hands off to Rebecca Barger. Becca is a powerful sprinter and far better than most of the second runners in this relay. It sure looks like the strategy is paying off for Pewamo as they have indeed opened up a huge lead in the first lap. Frankenmuth seems to be closing the distance on the lead runner somewhat as Becca continues her portion of the relay. It's tough to tell. So much chaos around the handoffs and a tight race is confusing to those watching the finish line. Focusing instead on the order of the runners after the handoffs is a better way to determine the placement of the teams throughout the relay. Rebecca Barger hands off to fellow senior Katie Palm-Reuter, and it appears that some distance has been closed on the other runners. Pewamo Westphalia still has a substantial lead on the field, however. For now, the Frankenmuth squad's fate lies in the hands of their third runner, Katie Palm-Reuter, in this her 4th event of the day. Katie seems to be struggling a bit in trying to close the distance ahead of her. Pewamo's lead seems to be expanding as the third runners continue around the 400-meter track. For all of the relay teams, this is the final chance to earn any points for their teams in today's state tournament, and depending on the point totals so far, could decide the ultimate victor. It appears that Frankenmuth is now in 5th or 6th place in the relay, with Pewamo Westphalia maintaining their lead. Katie pushes forward as she prepares for the final handoff of the race to fellow senior Angie Ritter. Angie Ritter is Frankenmuth's anchor for good reason. As Angie receives the handoff, she rockets ahead and soon passes everyone, except the Pewamo Westphalia runner in the lead. But the distance Angie has to close within a half lap is daunting. Pewamo's lead expanded quite a bit during the previous lap, and now that lead seems too much to close with less than a half lap remaining. There's no doubt Angie is quickly gaining on the leader as they round the back of the track. Angie refuses to give up, and she is close to within 3 seconds of Pewamo Westphalia as they cross the finish line and win the 4x400 meter relay, with Frankenmuth a close second thanks to Angie's superb effort in the final lap. Will this victory over Frankenmuth's relay squad give Pewamo Westphalia the points they need for a state championship? That announcement will happen in a few minutes, but for now, it's anyone's guess. Before announcing the final team results, there are first the 800-meter awards, then the 4x400 meter relay awards.
Caitlin Hutchinson from Shepherd, 220.15. In fourth place, Carly Hammond from Frankenmuth, 220.05.
Awesome, Carly!
In third place, Annie Santa from Bass, 219.52. In second place, Emma Dalton from Granville Calvin Christian, with a time of 2:17.
Honey Badger don't care.
And the girls 800-meter run champion in Division 3 from Manistee with a time of 2:11.4, Annie Fuller. Congratulations to this year's medalist. In second place, Frankenmuth with a time of 4:04.59. And your girls 4x400-meter relay champion in Division 3, Brenna Worth, Betsy Aaron, Tammy Noker, and Marissa Worth from Palama West Bailey.
A huge collective sigh of relief describes the mood here at the 2014 MHSAA D3 State Finals following the final event awards of the day. As the sun is sinking slowly behind the trees and temperatures are finally beginning to drop, the bleachers are emptying quickly. The 133 teams who competed today are gathering their equipment and heading slowly towards their buses. For the teams represented here, there is nothing more to be done save the trip home. It is becoming clear to all that for the D3 girls, the truly extraordinary performances presented by both Palama Westphalia and Frankenmuth leaves everyone to conclude that the championship will be won by one of those two teams. It was obvious from the first two events this afternoon and all through the day that the Frankenmuth team was driven. They arrived today with something to prove. Last year's fourth place finish here had left a mark on their team. Anyway, the only concern right now is who will win this championship. The tension is growing as the wait continues.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you've been waiting for. The medal presentation for the team. We would like to announce the girls first. With 72 points, winning the finalist is Palama Westphalia.
72 points? Let's be clear on this. You can count almost on one hand, in the entire history of Michigan track and field, how many times a team scored at least 72 points and did not win. And of those times, it was a very close second place. 72 points at MHSAA State is phenomenal, and today that amounts to 39 points over the third place team's score of 33 points. But here on the infield, none of that is of any concern to Frankenmuth. Even before their score is announced, the Frankenmuth team now knows they have made history by winning the 2014 D3 State Crown and becoming the only team in Michigan history to win the Double Crown 3 times. Everyone's attention is focused on the pending announcement of this year's MHSAA D3 Girls State Track and Field Champion. Even though only 10 girls qualified for MHSAA State, Frankenmuth's coaching staff has the entire team present and in uniform. This is a historic victory to be shared by all.
96 points for Division 3 champions, Frankenmuth.
96 points. That's not even close. A mind-boggling 24-point victory over second-place Pewamo, Westphalia. Once again at the most opportune time, this extraordinary Frankenmuth team has accepted the challenge and produced a dominating performance, besting all 133 teams who appeared here today. It will take some time and a lot of research to figure out exactly where this 2014 team fits into Michigan's track and field history. But for now, a celebration focusing on today's victory is the only order of business. The 2014 Michigan Outdoor Track and Field season has seen Frankenmuth's Division III Lady Eagles reach the absolute pinnacle of success for a high school track and field team. Along the way, these ladies have broken new ground, set many new records, and achieved milestones never before achieved in women's high school track and field in Michigan. They have become the first and only team to win the Double Crown 3 times. In addition, a week after winning their third Double Crown, Angie Ritter is named MITCA's Miss Track and Field, an annual award given to the top female track and field athlete in the state, regardless of division. And for the first time in the team's history, seniors Angie Ritter and Larry Hammond will represent the state of Michigan in the Midwest Meet of Champions, an annual all-senior postseason track and field championship featuring the top senior track and field athletes from Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio, coming up on Saturday, June 14th at Denison University in Granville, Ohio. Last year in 2013, Frankenmuth senior Ashley Fromm became the first Lady Eagles senior invited to represent the state, but had a scheduling conflict and couldn't attend.
Now tell us what you're doing. In what event? There you go. Thank you, ladies.
So stay tuned. This season is not yet over. There's more history yet to be made, including determining this 2014 team's place in Michigan track and field history. It's Saturday, June 14th, 2014, and we're at Denison University in Granville, Ohio, where the Midwest Meet of Champions, the best of the Midwest, will welcome their first Frankenmuth ladies ever. Angie Ritter and Larry Hammond from the Division III MITCA Team State and MHSAA State champion Frankenmuth track and field team. Today, Carly will compete in the 4x800-meter relay and Angie in the 100-meter and 200-meter sprints and the 4x200-meter relay. This championship meet features the top high school seniors from Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio competing head-to-head for both individual and team honors. Let's welcome the officials, then Team Indiana, Team Ohio, and Team Michigan.
The 300-meter hurdle, and also team captain Lonnie Johnson, who is the state champion in the long jump, and also in the 4x100-meter relay. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Indiana, Granville native, and the 200-meter state champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Ohio. Starting along the track, ladies and gentlemen, the team from the state of Michigan. Michigan team is led on the track today by Angie Ritter, who is the state champion in the 100 and 200-meter dash, and is also the state record holder at those distances, and by Robert Elmo, who is the state champion and a 7-foot high jumper. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Michigan.
we join our first event already in progress. The 4x800 meter relay features Frankenmuth's Larry Hammond as the third runner for Team Michigan. As Carly receives the handoff, both teams Indiana and Ohio have built up a substantial lead on Team Michigan. Carly has her work cut out for her to close that gap during her 2 laps. Carly ran the 4x800 meter relay at MITCA Team State for Frankenmuth, but unlike MITCA, this is her only event today, so she can give it all she has. By the time she completes her second lap, Carly has closed the distance on the front-running teams to only a few seconds. Now it's up to the Team Michigan anchor to finish the job. By the time Team Michigan's fourth runner turns the final corner, Team Ohio has expanded their lead and is crossing the finish line with Team Indiana close behind. It will be a third-place bronze medal for Team Michigan. Next up, Frankenmuth's Angie Ritter runs in the 100-meter sprint for Team Michigan. Everyone on Team Michigan is anxious to see how their captain, Ms. Michigan Track and Field, will fare against the best of the Midwest in the 100 meters, and Angie's off to a great start. Angie wins it, only 1/100th of a second slower than her state record time. And a couple of the Team Ohio girls are not happy. The dumbfounded Ohio crowd is quiet as Angie's shocked Michigan teammates congratulate her. We need to see that one more time. Those that made the trip from Frankenmuth are excited and thrilled, but not at all surprised about Angie's 100-meter victory. She faced her toughest race ever, with grace, humility, determination, and definitely speed. A whole lot of speed. Next up, Angie appears in the 4x200 meter relay. The 4x200 meter relay begins and Team Michigan is off to a good start. Angie is the second runner and with a good handoff should have a slight lead. Angie receives the handoff and heads around the far corner of the track. As she rounds the corner, she has a slight lead over Ohio heading into the second handoff. Indiana is running behind the leaders. Down the straightaway, and Angie is neck and neck with Ohio as the second handoff is made, and both Michigan and Ohio are a bit sloppy on the handoff, with Michigan coming out with a slight edge. Heading towards the third and final handoff, it's Michigan and Ohio still neck and neck. Michigan has some trouble with the third handoff and falls behind Ohio. Rounding the corner and heading down the straightaway, it's Ohio 2 steps ahead of Michigan. Ohio crosses the finish still 2 steps ahead with Michigan second and Indiana third. So it'll be gold for Ohio, silver for Team Michigan, and bronze for Indiana. That third handoff seemed to make the difference for Michigan. It's the 200-meter sprint and Angie's final event of her high school career. It looks like a really fast group of ladies running the 200 meters today. Coming down the straightaway, it's going to be a close finish between Angie in lane 6 and the Ohio runner in lane 8. Angie finishes with a close second place while setting a new personal record of 24.66 seconds in the event. So the 2014 season officially ends with Ohio winning the team championship, Michigan placing second and Indiana third. An unexpected surprise having one more run as high school seniors for Angie and Carly. Another first ever achievement for this extraordinary team. Next, we'll look at this 2014 team's place in Michigan track and field history. Immediately after the last event at the 2014 D3 MHSAA Finals, in the officials' tent located in the middle of the track, 2 ladies were busy making copies at the copy machine, when one lady said to the other,
"That must be one of the highest scores ever."
That comment was overheard, and weeks later that comment prompted an examination of the MHSAA archives to find out if in fact those ladies were referring to Frankenmuth's historic winning score of 96. Frankenmuth's 2014 score of 96, even 10 years later, remains the third highest score ever received in the history of MHSAA women's track and field in any division. It remains the highest score ever in Divisions 2, 3, and 4. Only one team ever, Division 1 Ann Arbor Pioneer, achieved a higher score, twice, a 97 in 2002 and a 108 in 2007. Upon close examination, the 2007 score can be attributed to an obviously weak field of competitors that year, and Pioneer only tied one meet record in the process. Many consider Ann Arbor Pioneer's 2002 team to be Michigan's best high school women's track and field team of all time. Let's take a closer look at Ann Arbor Pioneer's 2002 97-point performance. That year, they set the most meet records ever of any women's team at any MHSAA State tournament. In total, they set 4 meet records, and in the process, they totaled 14 all-state performances by team members. A truly historic performance. In 2014, the Frankenmuth ladies equaled Ann Arbor Pioneer's 4 meet records total, while Frankenmuth team members produced 13 all-state performances, with runner-up Pewamo Westphalia scoring a whopping 72 points, one of the highest second-place scores ever. And 10 years later, those records still stand. Add to that total the 5 meet records set while winning the MITCA Team State Tournament only a week earlier, and you have Frankenmuth's 2014 team achieving a total of 9 state-level records. Additionally, Ann Arbor Pioneer never won a MITCA Team State Championship. They never won the Double Crown. Now consider this. Earlier in the season at Frankenmuth's Marco Marcet Invitational, both the Pewamo Westphalia and Frankenmuth ladies defeated all 5 Division I schools. And later at the Bay City Western Invitational, Frankenmuth defeated everyone, including the 12 Division I schools. Some for the second time. The 2014 Lady Eagles became the only women's track and field team in Michigan history to win the Double Crown 3 times. And the 2014 Lady Eagles were named the #1 women's high school track and field team in the state, across all divisions, by the Saginaw News. There is no doubt whatsoever that the 2014 Frankenmuth women's track and field team, led by the 2014 Miss Track and Field, Angie Ritter, remains unequaled in both individual and team accomplishments in the history of Michigan high school track and field. Congratulations to Frankenmuth's historic 2014 team members and coaching staff for proving yourselves worthy of a special place at the top of Michigan track and field history.